I didn't have the cover all the way on it, but I didn't need it, luckily. And I did have a sweatshirt with me. I just didn't have the cover all the way on it. I love that. That's so fun. On this. If they have to dig up.
Yeah, right. Like, I think what this does is it allows them to do it rather than us having it.
I'm not giving it to any. That's okay. Do you like black licorice?
Do you have something to get rid of and nobody likes it?
No, it's the best one. I'm not giving it to anyone who doesn't like black licorice. Well,
I like it, but I can't eat it.
how come?
Diabetes.
Oh, really? It affects that?
Yeah, the sugar in it.
Oh.
This is looking in it.
Yeah. Okay, 6 o'clock, so I'll call the meeting of the select board to order at 6 o'clock, and if you could, join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, a motion to approve the minutes from September 23rd.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for September 23rd, 2025.
I'll second that. Any discussion, edits, corrections from everybody? All those in favor? Public comment for items not on the agenda, but everybody here for things that are on the agenda. And who do we have in Zoom?
Herb and Richard.
Richard.
I don't know.
I don't see any hands up there either. Report from the members. The only thing I would remind everybody is that we are looking now at increasing our participation in the Wreaths Across America to include more of our veterans. Penny and I are going to meet with St. George next week to discuss it. We're going to go from, if we do this, we're going to go from 75 graves that we put wreaths on to 300 something.
Awesome.
So if we do decide to go forward, there will be some solicitations for people to donate for the wreaths. That's all I've got. Adjustments to the agenda.
I have one.
Okay,
We have a donation from John Poyer for $2,000 for the Forest Preserve.
for what?
The Forest Preserve.
Oh, okay. Good, we need it. That's from John
Poyer.
Hoyer.
What was that?
A donation from John Poyer for the Forest Preserve for $2,000.
Anything else?
That's all I got.
I think the only thing I'm gonna do is take new business A, discuss work being done on Pumpkin Hill Road out of order. Do that first.
Thank you.
So it's your dime.
So back history for the two of you, since I've been dealing with John ever since the town redid Westbrook Street. It ruined the end of our road. From when they did all that work and re-crowned it, so it all drains into our road. We were not one of the lucky ones on Westbrook Street that had the end of our road paved, a lot of others were. That never had pavement before. John came in, John and I talked, had Kellett come in, they did some work. Didn't work, it's all in the ditch. So I went back to John again, and we discussed more of what to do and how to prevent the problem. And discussed that there's work on our side of it that needs to be done. To help prevent this problem and potentially pave certain footage in from Westbrook Street to help it, if it's a downhill. There's ledge at the top, so we can't go all the way up to the top without blasting, which we don't wanna do. John did discuss that the town would assist, not pay for the whole thing, and I'm not asking for that. Assist with the project funds wise to fix the issue. So I've talked to a few different contractors. I've not talked physically to Jimmy Kelly, talked to one of his men or whoever comes out, does the appraisals and stuff quotes. And we're gonna widen the road. We're gonna try to get it to ground, so the water will go off either way, because there's a culvert. One side's failed, it's been that way for 20 some odd years, never been fixed. The other side, obviously, like I said, is now filled in with all our material that because we just, prior to Westbrook Street being done, we redid all of Westbrook Street, Pumpkin Hill. With reclaim, surfaced it, got it to crown. Obviously couldn't do much at the beginning because of the ledge. But we're gonna widen it because it's unsafe right now for us coming out, because if someone's coming out and someone's coming in. Someone has to sit on Westbrook Street and wait, and that's, as you can imagine. Westbrook Street's gotten very busy lately, and certain commercial vehicles of a local town company or two. Don't know what the speed limit is in that area. I've almost taken, actually yesterday, almost took a dump truck head on. Trying to get in my driveway, so we're gonna widen it to get better view. We're also gonna pave 10 feet in from Westbrook Street. So all I'm asking, because unfortunately I didn't know what was going on with John. And obviously there's no communication, and just to bring you guys up, all I'm asking is for the town's assistance on. What's always been known as the town takes care of so many feet off a town road. So whatever you guys could kick towards the bill is perfectly fine, I'd appreciate it, we'd all would appreciate it on the road. And. Like I said, I'm not asking for you to pay for the whole thing, because that's. I wouldn't ask that even if we were doing what John had already done, so. But Calic is the one that I'm going through for a company to do it, since he's already familiar. We're actually gonna extend the culvert as well. I think towards the left, if you're coming off Pumpkin Hill. And cut some more trees down, get them out of the way, clear the brush. Get it so both sides of this culvert can be used for drainage. To potentially fix the problem. So
do you know if John had gotten any kind of estimates?
hadn't gotten that far yet, because things got busy. This was back, I'd say April, when we started talking about it. All of us on the road are self-employed, and we're trying to, make ends meet, so trying to get everyone on the same page.
Right.
And go from there. Finally just happened back like 2 days before I emailed you guys. So.
And how soon do you think you're gonna get the work done?
I'd say by the end of the month it's gonna be done.
Okay.
Actually, within probably the next 2 weeks. I'm kind of hoping it's gonna happen this weekend while I'm not there, because. They're paving, and that means I can't work,
Right.
because I can't haul my equipment in and out of the road. After it gets paved. So, within a couple weeks, I'd say.
Yeah, this is kind of difficult for us, because we knew nothing about it. It's right out of the blue for us.
I understand that.
And I don't wanna be the only contact with John is asking him this particular question, but.
Well, the question's been asked to him, but obviously he's not
Right,
in a
Yeah,
position to
he's not.
communicate, and I didn't know that when I sent. Him the email,
yeah.
so, and I understand. So,
from my perspective, I'm about to, but I think it makes sense. And I do think that we should probably contribute some money to it. I just need to get a feel for what's appropriate, and I think I'm gonna have to get John's input on it to do that.
And Jim Callett maybe.
And Calic, yeah, that's a good idea.
Well,
I can check with Jimmy.
I think it was Hannah that called Jimmy. Jimmy has no idea what's
Oh.
going on.
Yeah, I spoke with them at the town office,
Yeah,
Joe
the
Mad,
one we-
and he said, oh, I thought this was just a private contract, I didn't know the town was part of it, didn't hear from John
Oh,
about it.
because we're
so-
technically not part
Right.
of it.
Right.
He's like,
But he should have some input on what happened, right?
Yeah, and how much of it should be
Right,
town responsibility.
yeah.
I'll try to get a hold of John.
Chips, who I dealt with, if that
Okay,
helps on your guys' side of it.
At Kellett's,
Yeah,
okay.
he came out, we walked him, Glenn and I walked the whole section of the area. And agreed that it needs to, mainly for the drainage, the widening in view of Westford Street, that's on us. But getting the drainage to cure this issue, because you can't just come out of this road and go left or right. Because you're pretty much bottoming out due to all the potholes that are at where Westford Street and our road meet. And when it rains, just potentially maybe like tomorrow, it's just gonna make it worse. So, but I'm going forward with the project, no matter what, because we need to get this done before frost and all this other stuff, and before the paving plant shuts down. And as you can imagine, lack of communication on our road, someone on our road paved their driveway, like, that would have been awesome if they did it all at once.
yeah,
So, because we're in that valley that you don't know what's coming. So,
Are there any like blind drives signs on that road?
maybe,
Maybe,
definitely not that spot.
okay.
yeah. I think
Actually,
there's
there might be
that
one on
says-
the other side of, Robichaud.
Yeah.
If you're coming from Thomaston towards town, there might be.
Yeah.
But there's also a sign back by the old first junkyard coming up the hill, keep right.
What else are you gonna do?
I know, but no, I mean, it is what it is, you know, when I go out in the morning, there's less traffic, but when I come back in the afternoon. It's like 995.
Well, I would entertain a motion to authorize me to coordinate with Calic and Brian and possibly John.
So,
I'll second that. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Okay, so
Let me know when you know.
in theory, yes, you
Yeah.
just need to figure out what the appropriate amount is.
Well, like I said, we're going through with it just because we've got to get it taken care of, so. It's not fun trying to pull out a 30-foot gooseneck and. You don't have enough room.
We'll at least come up with $1 or $2.
That's fine, whatever you got, whatever you can kick towards it. Would be greatly appreciated,
All right, thanks, Brian.
and thank you for letting me go out of order.
All right. Yeah, you don't have to say.
I'm not saying. Wait for long.
Okay, back to the normal business. Discuss the easement deed for Thomas Cunningham at Hayden Point Road. You wanna update us on that? So I guess we now have somebody else who needs one.
so I got from. Oh, I forgot her name, Sewell, I
Yeah,
forgot her first name, the rest of the people that have those septics on that field. Those were the three that, the list I gave you that do need a deed like the one we have.
okay,
But Kristen did say that it does need to go before a town meeting.
right.
But you could grant a license, until we have a special town meeting for it.
Yeah. But I didn't get the feel that it was urgent, that they were needing it right away, that they were
Well,
trying to clean it up.
Right, I think that she just wanted it because somebody bought that house and they needed
and
it.
they just sold it.
So that's why when they sold it, they said, oh, you do need an easement deed for that. So that's what they were trying to do. But I wasn't sure if we were gonna set one up for the forest preserve, we could just add it on to there.
Yeah, but I still don't think that'll be timely enough.
But again, I think this license that we do could wait it out until we do a special town meeting. Or a regular town meeting. That's what Kristen said.
Yeah, I think for all the rest of them, we can probably wait until
Mhm.
regular town meeting.
Yep.
But I think hers probably needs to be, done sooner rather than later. So I guess the question is, will this letter authorizing, or will that be acceptable for the purchase and sales
Right.
agreement? Will,
I think they just need
It's
something
already
from the
sold.
town, yeah,
It's already gone through.
Oh,
it's already sold?
yeah.
So I
think
guess they
just
don't
need
need it
something
for
from the
that.
town.
Yeah, so they're not waiting on the sale, this is.
No.
Okay,
No,
all right,
Maybe they wanna do work on it.
yeah, I think I'd rather do them all at once at a regular town meeting.
Yeah.
And if any of them need to do any work prior to that time period, then we can do the letter to
Okay.
authorize it.
okay,
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
yeah,
So we'll table this to sometime in the future, and we could put it on the warrant town meeting. I am a little curious as to how there wasn't this deeded language earlier. I mean, when they put it in, well, they probably put it in
When-
prior to selling it. Cause it was a subdivision.
Right. Was that a town road at the time?
Well, typically not. Typically the subdivision it isn't a town road until the town accepts it
Right,
as a town road. And and that probably happened years later.
I went down the rabbit hole to try to find one, and I couldn't find anything
Yeah.
about it, so.
And it's not an issue as long as there's no maintenance that needs to be done on it. But if they need to do anything, then technically they're not allowed to without our permission. Okay, so having said that, we'll kick the can on that one a little bit longer, I think. And have we contacted, I'm sorry, have we contacted these folks to let them know that they
No.
should be working on the easement?
No, I haven't gotten that far.
All right. Well, we can wait on that, but we probably will want to do that before we have to down there. Discuss the library and community center advisory group report. Sue, that's you.
so we met again, the original group as well as Penny and Marcia Turner. Denise was invited but couldn't make it. And I can't pronounce your last names. And we made a few changes to the document that we had come up with before and changed it more to volunteer than advisory.
Better volunteer.
Yeah. It was kind of a contentious meeting at times. Because some people didn't see any need for anything to change.
And I do think we need to do something. I think this is a step in the right direction. I'm still, there's a few places that I'm a little cringe on
Mhm.
in the language. So what I'd like to do is send you some edits.
Yeah, I mean, we had changed a bunch of stuff that we thought you wanted changed. And that's why I sent it to you ahead of time too.
Okay.
And to everyone else that was involved.
Yeah, but I think it's much better than it was before. Yes,
Will that be distributed to the community for their feedback? I don't know what it's in it, so I can't do that. Just asking. Put it out on live serve or anything, listserv and something.
it's
It's still a work in progress. It hasn't
Okay.
been anything that has to be voted on or adopted at this time.
So when it is, how will that happen?
the select board would enact it.
You're in, it would go to town meeting or anything like that?
No, this wouldn't require a town meeting.
Okay,
If we were actually creating a paid position, we'd have to go to the town meeting to do that. In this case, it's all volunteers. Penny, you got any input?
I had asked that the volunteer aspect be separate from this. We have volunteers that serve in some of these capacities, as part of their time in the building. I have, Denise has agreed to collect the cash and make the deposits, or bring the deposits to town office on Monday. I still feel volunteers need to work under the director and,
Yeah, I agree with that.
well, that's not how this is written.
Yeah, that's why I said there were a couple places that I were thinking for it. Because I feel that the advisory committee is an advisory to the library community center director. So I think the other part is that I think if you've got volunteers that are doing something, when this is set up, then they should be at the top of the list to volunteer to fill those particular positions.
Well, does that mean that they would be on the advisory committee?
It's an advisory committee that provides assistance to you through volunteers. So it's not just verbal advice, it's working advice. That's how I see this.
Well, again, I feel that the volunteers need to come under the director's direction and,
But I agree with that.
But there were some things that we discussed that I feel are important, and I think others did as well, is that there should be a calendar that everybody can see, whether it's linked to the South Thomaston Library website, or if it's linked to the town's website, that is updated with everything that's going on in the building, even if it's a private party. It could say private party, like I drove by on a Sunday and I'm like, the building's packed, what's going on? There's nothing saying that anything was going on. We're closed on Sundays. You know, is there any kind of a fee structure so that if someone does damage, or I contacted Owl's Head and they take a deposit and they get the deposit back. But everybody's has to clean themselves, they have to pick up their own trash and take it away. I mean, I think there are things like that should be looked at and could be part of this. There's just some procedural things that could be tightened up and made more formal. Instead of just, you know, if I want to charge this person, I do, and if I don't want to charge that person, I don't. There should be, in my opinion, and that
I
of a
feel
few
that-
others.
that would come between the select board and the director. Because
Right,
we
well,
discussed
yes, but-
all of this when the building use form
Right.
came to be. And I've been acting as the board head.
But
handed it out.
maybe that, in my opinion, that should be changed, because I don't think everything should just be left to someone's discretion. I think it should be spelled out. It's the townspeople that pay for that building and pay for everything that goes on. And they should expect that we're not gonna pay for trash removal for somebody that has a party. We're not gonna pay for janitorial services for someone that has a party. We don't have a staff that does that, and I wouldn't ask volunteers to come in and do that either. If they create a bunch of trash, they should clean it up and take it with them. Just things like that I feel are important. Whoops, sorry, that's my watch.
I'm not sure how that is
Because,
part of an advisory committee.
because,
Because they can advise you and help you develop those.
right,
you wouldn't have to do all this work yourself. The advisory committee could do the heavy lifting for you.
That would make a lot of things better and less work for you. And less work for everyone, honestly. It kind of spreads it out and just develop a way that the building can be used more, but everybody knows what's going on.
Well, we do, we have a schedule posted online in brochures and.
But that doesn't include everything that's going on in the building. If I drive by on Sunday and see 20 cars out there, as a select person, I have no idea what's going on there. It's a Sundays, the library's closed. There should be a calendar that says private event. It doesn't have to say who it is. It doesn't have to say Sue Snow's having her 90th birthday party there. It just has to say private event, so we can look on there and see that something is going on.
And once again, if a volunteer would like to come in and develop that for our website, that would be great.
That's exactly what this is
Right.
supposed to do.
Right.
That's exactly what this is designed to do. And what it does is it creates individuals who are specifically responsible for different duties to help you in those particular duties. And so I think it's a step in the right direction.
So if you have someone that comes in every week that has computer skills, they can sit down and update that website. They can sit down and,
Please send me or write it over.
well, I mean, you must have some volunteers that can do stuff like that.
We can ask, but I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
say
think so either, because it should have been done already if they
Right.
had.
Well, couldn't
there was
Christine do that?
And
Well,
And-
what this will do is when we put this out for anybody who's interested, we're gonna ask them what their skills and abilities are, and
Right,
one of the positions is to do that very thing, and so we would look for somebody who can do that, so. Yes, ma'am.
along the line of a calendar, could we get one for the town to find out what meeting is what day, every month, and they change? Because calendars are important to people.
That's already
It's on the
on, it's
website.
already on the
Okay.
website.
I don't know where it is, but if.
It's at the bottom of the page, like if you just keep swiping.
Well, maybe it should be a little bit more, more significant.
I
I
agree.
don't know how, is it kept up to date?
For the most part, yeah,
Okay, I'm just checking.
everything's
I don't know.
usually the same.
is it hard to move something up on a page?
I can try, I haven't tried that.
I know some are easier than others to
I'll
work
figure
with.
it out, yeah, I sure will.
use. Heather.
And if somebody could help design the calendar, it can be kept up a whole lot easier, but we're not sure that we have somebody that's been volunteering that could do that. So if there's anybody out there, when you gather information, that might be helpful.
Yeah.
Just
Yes, ma'am.
note that.
I think before we put the cart before the horse, we should put out applications or form and see what we draw in
Yeah.
for people and skills.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so I don't think the outline or the policy is a finished product, but I do think that we can still go out and ask for input for people who are interested in being
Oh,
part of it.
definitely, and
Um,
more people should know, because I think if it was out there a little more, we might get more people
mhm.
I agree.
with dedicated skills, so to
Mhm.
speak. Rather than just say stacking books, you might get somebody who's, yeah, maybe that, I'm retired and I worked in IT and, maybe getting the calendar going would be fun.
Right.
And it's also something that somebody could do from home. They don't have to be in the building to do it.
Go in and,
Yeah.
which would make it much easier.
Yeah,
So I think what we ought to do, still work on the document itself
Okay.
and setting up the committee. But I think we ought to go ahead and put the application and call for people that are interested. If you wanna push that to Hannah and let her.
yeah. Did you want to, okay, yeah, so it has it on the volunteer application.
Yeah.
Paid for.
Now, so are these
Yeah.
volunteers be appointed by the town? Will the town need to come back and appoint all of the volunteers at the library?
Well, almost all the committees we've got in town, the select board appoints them. But nominating them can, I think, once this body is established, then the nomination should flow through the body to you.
But you're not gonna put out the advisory committee application, you're talking about putting out the volunteer application.
Volunteer application to be part of the advisory committee.
Well, they're two separate documents. In this document.
And that was at your request that we made a
Yes.
separate application.
Yeah, so.
That's why there were two. Correct.
And so I do believe that if you're sending out a volunteer application, it should include, being in the building during events, sitting at the food service desk. It's
That is on there.
But I don't see, you have position choice, position choice. And it's scheduling, event calendar,
Opening and closing the building is needed.
but see, that some of that is done by the people that are going to be in the building. For the various programming, and but you haven't included, that part.
So you have people in the building without a volunteer or a townsperson. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that some there on the building is open by.
The building was
Right.
What I'm saying is sometimes, the opening is happening by the person that's going to work. In the library or in the community center during those hours. So
Mhm.
they would open and be there. And also closing is whoever's in there in the afternoon
Right.
closes. So you've got just opening and closing, but not as part of the volunteer.
As needed. It says as needed.
Yes, what I would.
So
like
if there
to see-
isn't already somebody in there. For a day that the library is open, for instance, the Sunday I drove by. Somebody needs to be there to open it and to close it. Cause we're not just handing out keys to everyone in town to go in and do what you want and then,
No, there was a volunteer.
right, so, exactly.
But I'm saying that I feel this should be expanded to all the volunteer. Positions that exist.
Any volunteer can do that, Penny. We're just,
Well,
you just seems like you're trying to just throw as many roadblocks into this as you can, and we narrowed everything down because you didn't like the way that it was written. So we have really taken a lot out.
So the whole purpose of this committee is to assist the library community center director. And it's not to say that the person who is responsible for opening and closing is gonna be the person opening and closing. That's the belly button for it, to ensure that whoever is going in there and leaves does it. And what they have to do to close and to open. And so it lifts the responsibility from you unless you want to do it at the time.
I feel that is part of a director's job.
But not all the time are you gonna be able to do
No,
it. I mean, so this person will coordinate it and you say, I've got that one. I've got that. I'll take care of that. Okay, but that person is still the person that's doing it. And so I think what we're looking for is volunteers to fill the advisory committee, to fill these 5 positions that you're talking about.
I guess I misunderstood that. Because there is an application for the advisory committee. And then a separate one for the volunteers.
Because you requested that.
Yes, because I.
That's why there are 2.
That the volunteers need to come to the director and.
I don't disagree with that at all,
Okay.
but to fill the advisory committee with volunteers who will do these specific functions, that should come to the select board. And so I think, and that's what I want to solicit for. I want to solicit for the 5 people who are going to sit on this board or this committee. And what their specific duties are going to be so that we can get this started and moving in that direction. All other volunteers, anybody else who wants to volunteer, goes to you to volunteer or goes to the the person who's responsible for overseeing volunteers. And they can go to that person until they go to you. So I think we're making this more difficult than it has to be. But I do think that the application should be for the advisory committee, and the stuff that we have on the volunteer
Would be for them to fill out.
would
if they
be,
want to.
would be part of the application for the advisory committee. Does that make sense? So you want to synopsize that and what we're looking for so that she can put it out on the listserv with the
I
application.
don't know that we're in the position to put it out there before this document is where you want it to be.
I think we can still ask for volunteers, we just don't appoint them until we get this done. We can still go through and look at people. And and I think it's written into this, that my recommendation is that in the future, the advisory committee is who gets the applications and then they nominate somebody to us. And nominations can come from the advisory committee, from individuals themselves, or directly from the library director. But they would all end up coming to the select board for the actual appointment. So you good?
Mhm.
You good? I'm good.
So the select board would nominate only those 5.
Appoint those 5 positions. We would appoint the 5 positions.
But not the volunteers that currently serve
No,
in those capacities.
that's all up to you and the advisory committee on how you do the rest of the line.
Well, we do need to have a list of those that are on,
Well, yeah.
right, because they need to be on our insurance.
Right,
They are,
Yeah.
I submit that when asked.
Well, not when asked, how often should that be put in?
Hannah sends me, asks for a list and I send it in, I think it's once a year.
But don't you have people join more than once a year as a volunteer?
Yes, and I update it as needed.
Okay,
yes, ma'am.
I just think with this committee, we need to have the definition of advisory as against management.
Right.
it doesn't say
You don't
management.
want advisory to manage. I'm not speaking to you.
Yeah.
Please,
Lynn addressed the chair.
I think we just have to be, if it's advisory, it's advisory, if it's management, it's management.
Right.
I mean,
It's not
they're
management,
totally
it's
different
advisory.
animals, so.
Right. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's where some of the,
And that's where some of the cringe that I have is that,
right,
is that there are still.
when I read
places.
it, I came away with a little bit of,
Okay,
okay.
all right, so everybody on the same sheet, possibly Penny still has issues. Okay. The first rule of the cavalry, if you haven't heard me say this before, when riding the dead horse, dismount. So we're about to dismount. and move on to the next one. All right, discussion regarding code enforcement officer and assessor agent's office. Yes, ma'am.
You've seen our office, Jeff.
Yes.
You've seen how crowded it is.
Yeah.
Last winter Penny and I had kind of tossed around the feasibility of the assessor and I moving down to Gilbert Butler. It would free up some space. Then I had my emergency surgery, then I had some issues with my mother and I just kind of dropped the ball. Hannah had even gone as far as getting a quote from Gus on what to do, what it costs to get a server down there, and his estimate was around $3,000. But it just kind of died on the vine.
Yeah.
For a lack of anyone doing anything. Kevin called me around September 25th. And he had just done the supplements and abatements, and he said it was a struggle. It's a very hard to concentrate in there. That day, I was there, I had people coming in with applications. David was there, he had people coming in, and then later in the day, David was listening to a webinar, and it must have been impossible for him to hear. Because Kevin was talking on the phone, and Kevin's trying to talk over the people, the voices coming down the hallway. And it's too small for all of us in
For
there.
all the functions that are going on.
Also Kevin's desk is like a tiny corner desk. So he ends up spreading out on the table, which has the maps in it, so if someone wants to look at the maps while he's there. He has to move all his stuff, then we can open the maps. Now, I realize he's only there one day a month. Sometimes two, and sometimes he goes out into the field, but. When he is there working, he's doing the MBR, he's doing. Tax commitments, he's doing important things that it's hard. It is hard to concentrate on some of that stuff when it's really noisy. So David is here, I believe, to back me, that he thought this would be a good idea too. Kevin wants to try going down there on the 14th when he's here in town. And I had Hannah call Penny to ask if that would be acceptable. And she said he could, but he can't go into the teacher's room, which is kind of the room I'm proposing, because she said there's no Wi-Fi, although there's a computer in there, so that could all be fixed. So he is going to go down there and work. I think he has to work on MBR, and he's got a few other things to kind of pull together. Hannah and I went down and we kind of looked and measured around. I think it could work if we could use the teacher's room and the book nook to have the desks in the teacher's room and the book nook. In the first one, we could have our table with our maps where we could meet with people that we need to meet with and have our file cabinets in there. I'm not sure it's not 100% perfect, but it would also give David a space that he could meet with his people. Lots of times ambulance people come up and they're talking HIPAA stuff, I shouldn't hear it. But there's no place for them to go, or if he's talking with his crew about personnel issues, he can't come down here and talk because a lot of them are right there, so. We've kind of outgrown our space, and I'm open for suggestions if anyone else has a better option. Like I said, I don't know that this is perfect, but I think it could work. I talked with the girls in the office that I could work out a schedule where I'm not down there all the time. I'm down in my code hours. I'm
Right.
here on my tax hours, but I also could do either one from either place. That's my spiel on it.
Yeah. Penny, is there still space over there? Available for this?
The circumstances that have changed in the office where we, dedicated the closet to the clients, and there should be a refrigerator coming, and it serves as our kitchenette for things that are going on. The Wi-Fi is actually, there's a TV on the desk and the computer is over by the door because that's where it can pick it up. But that is now the space that the public computer is kept in. We keep our signs, our trash. We have a file cabinet for sanitary and library in there. We have now been subsidized for a van delivery, and so we need a staging area for books coming and going. And there's totes and bags that require storage, that can be accessed easily by the volunteers, but not kept in the library because those aren't our books, those are loans, interlibrary loans. So that has really made me think that the office space, which was the teacher's lounge, which is very, very small, it's not really a feasible situation. That's, the book nook is, you know, an ongoing, this is where we stage our books when they come, the donations that come in, and we have regular visitors since Denise picked up the cash on Saturday. $18 worth of books have moved out. The renovation included the book nook space, and that was where we were going to lose half of it to the Lulu lift. And so I know that John felt very strongly about keeping everything town office and library community center separate, because it is a duty and wisely place. Kevin, Hannah came down and said that Kevin wanted to meet with people, and so I said, well, he could sit at the circulation desk on the day that we were closed. That would be fine, and that would give him access to our little printer. So I'm not sure why we wouldn't explore opportunities here to maybe remove the closet in the bathroom and put that stuff downstairs where Lion's stuff was, or maybe David could have an office downstairs. And a partition be put up for,
A partition doesn't suffice as
Basically
noise.
moldy.
I wouldn't wanna put anybody in the downstairs as an office, anymore.
Well,
Well,
we can't afford to lose closet space. We don't have closet space as it is.
yeah, I do think that, yeah, this is not something we're gonna be able to solve tonight, and it is an issue that we need to look at, because we have outgrown that office back there.
Yes, we have.
But I don't think until we build something new, I don't think there's another place that.
I don't think that's an answer, Jeff.
Yeah,
I think we have the children's library there, we have the maker space. Penny was given 1 to 2 rooms and she's taken over, and now you're gonna put the public computer that one person uses over the comfort of 3 employees who really need to have space and a little less noise.
And privacy in some situations,
Yes, and
which is
how many people,
legal.
we didn't have a children's library before, we could move into there, the maker space, I mean, it's a big building, and yes, it would be sad to lose some of the library stuff, but you are talking about 3 employees that really need something done, and the answer is not the basement. I would not work down there, the mold would be terrible.
yes, ma'am.
I don't think Penny determined that. I think the people that wanted to use the building determined how it has been used. Now, that space that's been spoken about is not a very large space, and I think you folks, if you haven't been over lately, then probably you have.
I'm in there every week.
Have you seen our office where we're crammed into? That would be much
That's
better.
fine, I'm not denying that, I'm just saying, please look and see if there's other opportunities, because that space has been well used and well designed for what it is, and when the money comes in, it will go away.
Say,
When the renovation and addition is put through, and that's
That's not a given. I
no,
mean, so, what's that?
That could be 10 years down the road,
right,
you know,
I
so
don't-
in the meantime, there is something that needs to be done, and that building is a community building. And if the people that work to run this town need a space to be, then we need to figure out how to do it.
I can't
Whether-
use this from.
Because this isn't, this room is used all the time, the people from the ambulance are in and out. Firemen in and out of the kitchen.
And how are we gonna have a community to have a meeting?
Yeah, if you move all of their stuff,
I'm shocked.
Oh, I'm shocked at you two.
Okay, come on, knock it off.
You can't take the only public meeting room we have and turn it into office space. It's the only place we have. We can't meet in the library. There's not enough space.
Those classrooms wouldn't be big enough,
No,
the one that is pretty much bare when we have musicians and all that.
They're so convenient.
for all the meetings, it may be for some, but not for others.
Just trying to look for alternatives too.
Yes,
Or
ma'am,
a portable classroom like they do when they run out of space in a school.
They're not free.
they're not.
No, I understand that, but
And you have to have groundwork done, you have to have plumbing and electrical run to it.
And that's not a permanent solution,
No,
that's a
no, it's not.
Band-Aid
But-
at best.
neither is any other option that's out there.
But the office space,
I agree, I don't think the office space is the right place, that's very small, I think that's too small an area. I think you'd find very quickly that you got more room back there than you would over there.
You see where I am?
Yeah.
I don't even have a place to put books. I have.
Yeah, but that's just you, I mean, you got three people that are gonna try to squeeze. in.
No, this is still gonna be used, it's just, you can't have three different people in there doing three different jobs at the same
Oh, so you're
time.
talking about not
Not
all
moving
three?
everybody,
Just
no.
me and Kevin.
I mean, I think it's something that needs to be looked into,
Yeah,
because it is a community building, and yes, it has been spread out to use it all, but it doesn't mean it has to all be exactly as it is. If one space can be cleaned out and allowed for them to use, and I don't think trash should be kept in that room, it should be down in the basement, personally. Because you can smell it out in the hallway.
well,
I think it's something that should be looked at.
I do think it needs to be, we need to look at a solution to this. I'm just not convinced that office space is the solution, but I do think that there's plenty of room at the library where space could be made.
I would be fine any space. I just,
Yeah,
that was the space that when Penny was for it, that was the space that she thought would work out well. I just think, I mean, David, speak up. Poor kid.
Yeah, and I totally agree, and I've had a lot of people coming in, and, I mean, there's just no room for them to even sit in there with this, all of us there. And like she already said, you know, we're discussing a lot of private stuff that should not be getting out there,
right.
and I have no other options, and we've been talking about this for years, this is nothing like that's happened overnight that's new, we've outgrown this building with just the town stuff is getting bigger.
Yeah.
And we have not done anything to grow with it. So we're at the point now that we're sitting on top of each other because there's no more space. I mean, we're done. And no, I'm not going down to the basement. It's not happening.
No, I wouldn't either.
Okay, this is not something we're gonna solve tonight, but,
No.
but we still need to be looking into it, and, if that building is the right place, then you and Penny can try to figure it out. I also do not think that office space is, there,
Would you be willing with us taking one of the classrooms?
a portion of one. I mean, the classrooms are as big as this is,
Yeah.
so, you could put, 5 people, and you could put our whole office in one of those classrooms.
Well, Jeff, Penny's never gonna agree with anything, so I think it's gonna have to be up to the select board to offer a solution with this to say. You can use half of the space or a quarter of the space, whatever it takes.
Yeah, but we're gonna need folks to give us some options.
What about the space where the computer used to be that has all the DVDs and,
it's 6 foot wide by
No, that's smaller than the.
12 foot deep.
What about the makerspace?
Talking about one of the most well-used rooms.
No, it isn't.
That's what I
Well,
thought.
okay, we're not gonna solve it here tonight, we just need to look at, and for possible solutions. And I'm willing to figure out what it is, but, we're not gonna solve it tonight. Yes, ma'am.
if this should go through, or there is a need for the town office not to be here, it might be well to let the library facilities committee know that that needs to be part of their plan, or however that might be something to look forward to.
It already is
It's,
part of the plan.
it's
I
not,
think that was all.
it's not,
That was always part of it.
But it's optional, or it hasn't been.
it's not the whole town office either,
No,
Tom. It's
I don't
just,
know what thing
it's
it
just
is.
a couple of the jobs.
Yeah, and I do think that part of the addition was to relieve some of the space here. But again, that's 5 to 10 years down the line. I don't see that happening anytime in the real near future. And we've got real issues right now.
Now, if we could renovate the lower level for public use, then we could easily give up a classroom for office space.
That's gonna take a lot of money though.
Yeah.
Does anyone
Well,
know
I think,
What?
how much? Do we know?
well, according to the fire marshal, it was enclosing the stairwell with firewall and improving the second egress. Other than that, it was those were the reasons we could not occupy the lower level.
I think, anybody that spends a lot of time down there gets sick. From the smell of the mold. I went to the yard sale and there was stuff in boxes and cushions that had been stored down there. I had a headache for 4 hours after just walking by those things.
The cushions were brought in and they never went downstairs.
Well, I was told it was all stuff from downstairs.
Yes.
I understand that hopefully someday that the basement could be modified and fixed so that they could move makerspace down there, or the community where the music, they play the music or something. I understand that. But we don't have that type of money, and that's 5, 6, 7 years down the road. In the meantime, we're still stuck in that small space. And it is very difficult to work there. Unless I'm in there alone, and then, you know, it's just me, but that's not every day.
I think it's a need. I just don't have a solution for it yet. And I haven't heard any alternatives that I'm really happy with, so. Need to do more homework.
But what would that homework include?
What kind of options are available over there? What Penny thinks could be sacrificed and given up. I do think that the library and community center has grown to fill the space as opposed to using space that it needs. And I know John feels this way, that we may be, what was authorized by the town, we're doing more with that building than what was authorized by the town. So I think that there should be some room in there for making some space for other folks. But I can't tell you whether it's the makerspace area or the book nook, or I can just tell you that little office to the right as you come in the door is not the place.
Well, I was trying to take as little space as possible,
Right.
because I know that it's not ever gonna happen to get the library. Part of the children's library, a part of this makerspace, a part of where they do ballet. Penny is not gonna give that up unless the
Please.
board steps in and looks at it themselves and says, okay, I think this is what would work for 2 of our town employees to have a little more space.
It would also be one of the least expensive because you're not gonna have to erect walls and create new spaces. And it has windows in it, which is always appreciated. If you have an office. I don't have any.
Well, the office space does not have heat. You know, but we're trying to do price repairs, so we've never Gone there, if we didn't want to.
And Penny, I said this to you the other day when we were down there, what would your option be for us? And you said you didn't have one. So do you have one now that you thought about it?
What I thought was that the back closet would be things that could be stored downstairs. And that that space could be set, you know,
Oh, you're talking about here?
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's,
No, we put our voting booths downstairs and they were all moldy, so we had to get new ones. Nothing can go downstairs.
Well, I thought that had all been mitigated and corrected.
no, that's the primary reason the Lions moved out of there. It's because it's just not even for, you know, twice a month for an hour or two. It's just not an acceptable place. So,
Well, the Lions room, music, yoga, ballet room would be the logical choice to have offices taken out of, but you know, we've made commitments to programming that would have to be lost at this point.
or alter, but again, I can't make that decision right now, not willing to make that decision right now. I think that the two of you need to get together and discuss I do think we need to find something somewhere, other than in this building.
Well, I know that John felt strongly that it shouldn't be mixed in the same building when we were at the facilities committee level, and that's why it was proposed that an addition be put on the town office, but even then, he was not in favor because of the parking issues and the activity and commotion that,
I think what you're talking about was moving the entire town office down there,
yeah.
that he didn't want to do,
Yeah.
but we're not talking about that.
So are you, I mean, if it's just CEO and assessor's agent, those don't have to happen at the same time, right?
Kevin comes, when Kevin comes, and I can't stop working just because Kevin's there.
And
I guess I don't understand your question.
there would be days that Penny would work here because somebody else is not here. I'm not Penny, Terry
Yeah,
would work here.
So you're talking about moving the treasurer down too, like,
well, since I'm one and the same, yeah, I guess so, except for the treasurer will be up here half the day. Working treasurer stuff and working the counter.
Yeah, it's the CEO and the assessor's agent that needs
Need the space.
Space.
And the privacy.
Okay. Come back to us with alternatives. But I think you've got to make room down there somewhere. Okay. I can't see any other options out there. If you can come up with some other options besides this building, then I'm willing to listen to them, but I just don't see any other way around it. And if we kick this too long, then the Library Community Center Advisory Committee might wrestle with it, might be the ones to wrestle with this issue. Okay, other dead horse,
Yep.
moving along. Possible executive session, you still need that,
Yep.
okay. All right, so let's get the other stuff done before we do that. Monthly reports. And we had a treasurer's report and a CEO report. Donations, is this the only one we've got?
Yes, that's all we
Okay,
need.
I would entertain a motion.
Okay. I make a motion that we accept, the donation of $2,000 from John Poirier for the Forest Preserve.
Second that. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, John.
Definitely needed. Any further discussion? All those in favor? No appointments? Warrants. I would I would entertain a motion to approve the warrants.
So moved.
Second, any further discussion? All those in favor? Just so you know, I don't think we have ever formally done that in the.
But we're
Since
supposed to,
nine,
right?
yeah, since 2005, I think, I don't know. Okay, anything else? Last chance. Oh, scheduled future meetings, I think we're already scheduled out through November.
I think so.
So let's keep it at that. All right, that's all I got. We're getting ready to go into executive session. Finally here. So I'll make the motion to enter executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 405(6)(a) to discuss personnel matters.
Yeah.
All those in favor? 7:05.
I sit up here so I'm
Yes,
not across
ma'am.
the table.
Yep.
Or.
Yes, please.